Auburn survives the scare from the Arkansas Razorbacks, eking out a 67-60 victory. Let's talk about it on this live edition of the Uptempo podcast. Let's go. Good evening, Auburn family. Good evening, Uptempo gang. Dustin Smith and Blake Lane, another live edition of the Uptempo podcast. Early 4:30 start for you guys today. Blake's got some Mardi Gras going on tonight. Y'all know they like their Mardi Gras up there in Mobile. Got a USA versus Canada for a championship tonight in the hockey, bro. So a lot of stuff going on. So we figure we get in here and go ahead and get this thing over with. You guys, as you come in here, please share that on social media. Hit that thumbs up button, all that good stuff. But Blake, last night we took on Coach Cal. Hall of Fame coach that Bruce Pearl squared off against plenty in his career. And if you look at the numbers, Cal actually gives Bruce Pearl a little bit of trouble. And last night was no different, man. But we pulled one out 67-60 over the Arkansas Razorbacks. Just a little bit scarier than we anticipated, huh?
You know, what's crazy is I tweeted out yesterday morning, Dustin. I said, I'm really glad this one is in Neville tonight. And I got a response back that said, why are you glad about that? Why would you be scared to go to Bud Walton? I said, well, they've been playing better as of late. They're growing. They're continuously getting better game by game. They got a couple of guys who can make plays, who can create their own shots, who can get to the rim. We saw that last night. The Thero kid. I thought he was magnificent. I thought he played one of his better games of the year. And they got a big guy down low that can step out and he can shoot the three ball. And it kind of scared me. I was like, man, I do not want to go to Bud Walton because Alabama went there a couple weeks ago and they blew a 20-point lead and they squeaked one out at the buzzer. And it's just a team that they lost Boogie Flan earlier in the year, like midway through the year, and that kind of helped them out. They've been playing better without Boogie. And so I just felt like it wasn't a bad matchup for Auburn, but it wasn't the best matchup for Auburn, right? And I was thankful that we had this matchup at home. The most part was because we were coming off such a high. We were coming off such a great, a dominant win in Tuscaloosa, and then we had the extra day. Instead of playing on a Tuesday, you got to play on a Wednesday, and then you got to play at 8 o'clock at night. So you got to sit around all day, and you watch the game at 6, and you're getting ready and all this, and it feels like it took forever to get here. And so I felt like Auburn would be a little sluggish, and we were. It felt slow. It felt like Arkansas was trying to take us out of our game, which we like to get out and run, and Arkansas did not want us to do that. Tahad had an off night. A couple guys had off nights. Miles Kelly, I don't think he played his best offensively. So it was a game where, like I said, not a bad matchup, but not the greatest matchup. But one thing I do like about it is you faced adversity mid-game, and you even lost the lead for a second. You lost the lead. You had to turn to a veteran to get a bucket. They did. Once you got the lead back, you made the plays down the stretch, and you won a close game, even though it was at home. This is a team that is basically fighting tooth and nail for an NCAA tournament appearance.
Yeah, like Arkansas, those odds were crazy. If they won, over 50% chance of making it, like 19 if they didn't.
Man, I'm gonna tell you something. If they could put it all together, that is one of the more talented rosters in the country, y'all. Like they are so much better than their 15-11 record. It's not even funny. And that's why I was nervous last night. I know a lot of people thought I was joking and they thought that we were going to go in and blow Arkansas out and they wouldn't stand a chance. I'm telling you, length length plays, y'all. When you have guys you have big guards that are physical, they can create their own shot, they can get to any spot on the floor. It's different, man. It's different. Look at Missouri last night. They just absolutely blitzed Alabama. Alabama had no answer for that physicality. None. It plays, y'all. I'm telling you, it plays. So I do love the fact that we did lose the lead and we had to battle back and we had to make plays down the stretch, hit a couple free throws down the stretch to win a close game. But boy, Coach Cal, he's working with something over there in Arkansas, and I know their fans were, just absolutely livid that it wasn't going the way that they thought it would go early on. But give that dude time. He's one of the best coaches in the country. He's a great recruiter, man. He's going to bring elite talent to Fayetteville, and they are going to be one hell of a program in the next couple of years.
Blake, I was more frustrated last night than I have been all season.
Yeah.
And hear me when I say this. My opinion of Auburn hasn't changed at all. I'm not getting on here complaining about a 7-point win. I echo everything Blake said about expecting this to be a tough game.
Yep.
And when I look at the rebound numbers, kind of drive my point home here. When I look at the rebound numbers, 42 for Auburn, 29 for Arkansas. I think that Auburn played hard. I don't like Auburn played hard the entire game. We just played really bad. Like we just played bad basketball. It's a toss-up between our last home game, either the Florida game or last night was our worst game of the season. And I can make a case that last night was maybe worse than the Florida. Like, as far as just the way that we played, I got really frustrated. And we do this, and it's not, it's just every game's not going to be perfect, so I understand that. But one of the flaws this team does is they know they can shoot the ball well. They know they got shooters, and they just fall in love with it. And I've noticed it happens, Blake, whenever we get up a little bit.
Yeah, always.
We get up 6, 8, 10, 12 points, and the next 4 or 5 shots are going to be threes. And a couple of them are going to be dumb threes that back in the day you'd get benched for. Now it's kind of accepted because one player in Golden State made everybody think that these kind of threes were high percentage shots. They're not. And continuing to shoot the three with 20 plus seconds in the shot clock, 17 seconds in the shot clock, it drives me nuts when you have the clear advantage in the post. And I just thought that last night Auburn had the clear advantage in the post. The 7-footer for Arkansas post ain't his game. He's more comfortable on the wing. And last night, luckily for us, he didn't hit any of them. And it's a testament to how good this team is. I think it was probably our second, maybe our worst performance of the year. And we still won versus a very talented team. Luckily, like you said, it wasn't home, because if you would have played like that in Bud Walton, I don't think you were going to come out with a dub. But we know that in this SEC, when you already combined the amount of what we did in the non-conference, like, you just know you're not going to have it every single night. And again, I don't think it was like the term I've had to use so often in football, unfortunately, the juice, where you're looking at it and I'm going, Blake, where was the juice? And you say that there was no juice in the cup. I don't find myself saying that for the basketball team, right? Like they bring it, they're going to bring effort, they're going to do their thing. They just execute well offensively.
Yeah.
Offensively, look, you hold a team to 60 points in Neville, you're probably gonna win.
Yeah.
Like Auburn this Auburn team, they're gonna get over 60. So holding Arkansas to 60, there was a couple of Arkansas won a couple of runs where they were like 5 of their last 6 baskets and all that. But when Auburn had to, Auburn clamped up and locked down defensively, and that's ultimately what won the game. But yeah, man, I don't think Auburn played a good game at all. And that's okay. Like I don't want to come off like super negative. This is a reaction to just this game. And I mean, trap game situation. Like I was worried about it too. And we got into the game. I never thought we were going to lose. But when Arkansas tied it up, I was like, guys, let's not lose back to back at Neville. Like this team is too good to do that, and they flirted with it, but ultimately, man, they pulled it away, and it's just yeah, dude, four for 24 from you shot 16.7%
Yep.
from the 3-point line. But here's the difference, guys. Here's the difference. Y'all know where I'm going with this. Arkansas 7 for 14 from the free throw line. They left 7 at the stripe, shot 50% in the game. They lost by 7. Auburn 76.5%, 13 for 17. And then, like I mentioned, 42 to 29, Auburn with the rebounding advantage. I mean, we just crushed them on the offensive boards, 13 to 4. So, and then got them on the defensive boards, 29 to 25. So the effort was there. Turnovers, dude. We were terrible, sloppy with the ball, 12 turnovers, a whole lot in the first half. Really ugly. Only blocked 12 of their shots. Auburn didn't play well at all. A lot of dumb fouls, and still come out with a 7-point victory over a really good team. So, and we get out healthy, which is my thing all year. Let's just kind of that surviving and get through this grind here. So all in all, man, I don't have a whole lot to complain about. We're sitting at 24-2, and we're still number 1 in the country.
Yeah, I'm looking over at the comments a little bit, and I'm seeing we turn the ball over too much, and I 100% agree. And it's not they were bad turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
They were bad turnovers.
Yeah, like Devin says, lazy pass.
Once again, I made my point about Arkansas and their length and their playmaking ability. Solid roster. All right. It just all hasn't come together yet. But once again, I think Auburn, sometimes they play to the level of the other team. I think you get that sometimes because it's just look, you're also going to get each team's best shot. You're number 1, okay? So there's a lot of things that go into it. Is like you're going to get Arkansas's best shot. They're a little amped up. You're coming off the big win against Alabama. You're probably, you're still excited about that. And you go into Arkansas and you're like, oh, well, they're 15-10. They're really not worth a damn. Let's go in here and let's blow these dudes out. And it doesn't happen like that. Right? So, like I said, I thought Arkansas would make it a game. They did. Look, Big Z, I mean, brother Penn Chaney and stood over him and got teed up and then didn't make a shot all night. Didn't make a shot all night. I mean, was putting up 18 a game in SEC play and didn't make a shot all night long. That probably saved us a little bit because here recently he's been a sniper. But to go out on that limb and talk a little trash and then not back it up one bit. And Miss Devin, it leads me to the next thing I want to talk about is CBM, Dustin, because that's what led to it, right? The Big Z standing over Chaney, and then CBM got in his bag. CBM makes a play, turns around to the bench, says what he has to say, and then he flaunts the Auburn. Teed up. All right. Devin, you might not be mad at it, but I'm getting to the point where I'm pretty mad at it. And here's why. It's nothing against CBM. I love CBM. And somebody told me on Twitter the other night that I was downing CBM. I'm not downing CBM. This is what I'm saying to it is, like me and Dustin were texting today, Daryl Dapp. All right, Dapper, he laid it out perfectly. It's going to end up costing Auburn again. You cost Auburn against Yale. You're going to end up costing Auburn again if you don't stop. Talking trash, and doing things like that is an art, man. You have to pick your spots. You got to pick and choose when to do it. And with CBM, everything that happened last year, Nate Oates getting on the mic and talking about CBM, that everybody puts you under this microscope, dog. And they are looking for anything. They are looking for anything to blow that whistle and tee you up. That's it. They're looking for anything. And last night when they teed Big Z up, that set the tone right there. They're looking to tee somebody else up. And as soon as because CBM and Big Z they were barking at each other off that inbound, right? Did you see Big Z? Big Z got up off the bench and he was wiping his face and he was like, oh, and he started pointing at CBM and CBM was like, yeah, I got you, bro. All right. So they were already barking. So they clipped that. They said, okay, CBM barking. Here we go. One more and we're teeing him up. And that's all it took, y'all. You ain't got to say nothing. To trash talk, you don't have to open your mouth. When he hit the shot, he turned and he looked at the Arkansas bench and then he smiled and did like that. That's taunting somebody. Okay. Do I think it's soft? Yes. Hell yes. I think it's soft. All right. But in their eyes, with everything that is just pinned down on CBM, they're going to call it. Because one, they don't want the game to get out of hand. They don't want to lose control of the game. And two, they're probably looking over here going, all right, well, we teed Z up for doing something similar, so let's tee CBM up. My thing is, do it to your bench. Backpedal a couple more steps and look at BP and say, hey, baby, bang. All right? Because I don't want you to ever stop being CBM. I don't want you to stop talking trash. But we got to pick and choose our spots. We got to learn how to do it without getting teed up and giving them free throws and the ball. We got to stop. Because I don't care that what's his name from Alabama was pushing you out of bounds. I don't care. There was an open hand fly across his face and it hit him. They're going to call that. Do I think CBM got fouled? Do I think he got pushed? Yeah, I do. But when I get on Twitter and I say, hey, CBM, you got to stop, man. It's not me downing CBM. It's saying, hey, you have to find a way to dig deep and clean it up. You have to. Because when we get in the NCAA tournament, we're going to run up on somebody like, let's say St. John's, y'all. They're on a freaking heater right now. Rick Pitino's got them playing out of their mind, and nobody's really talking about them. So you're going to run up against a team like that in the tournament, and you're going to make a stupid play, and it's going to cost you free throws in a tight game because you're going to have a tight game in the NCAA tournament. Get ready. And it could end up putting you down a possession. So we got to pick and choose our spots, man. But I don't ever want CBM to change with the smiling and the energy and him out there having fun. Just pick and choose the right spots to do it, man. And do it more with your team so there can't be any bickering back and forth with them. And you get a tee that, in my opinion, is soft. Just do it with your team. Pin all the energy to Tahad and Janai and Dylan and all that. What does Dylan do? How does Dylan talk trash? All right. Dylan Cardwell talks trash, y'all. But guess how he does it? Interacting with Auburn fans. It's never towards the other team. Dylan talks trash with the Auburn fans, and he lets it radiate through the building. After he locks somebody up, it's and he does it right in front of the student section, and they go nuts. He don't look at the player and do it. He don't lock the seatbelt and do it at the player. He does it towards the student section so it can get them going. Talking trash is an art, man, and you got to figure out how you want to get it done. You can still talk trash without putting it on the Arkansas guy or the Alabama guy, or hell, we're going to Rupp Arena here. You know, the microscope's going to be right back on you. It's going to be right back on you, Dustin.
Yeah. So I got a lot to say about this one. First, Look, a lot of stuff's been going around national sports news, the national sports circuit, about just how bad the NBA ratings have fallen apart.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Blake, you talked about this a lot, so I'm comfortable saying like you're one of those people, right? Like me and you, we used to watch the NBA now. Like
Mm-hmm.
I used to have League Pass
Yep.
locked in. Okay. Grew up in the basketball gym. I've said this before on this show. Like growing up, basketball was my favorite sport. It is a distant fourth on the list now. And it's a sport. It was my first love as a child. Went to sleep with a basketball in my bed. Okay. But it's got so soft that it's just we know what it is. So I hate this. Like I hate this. I'm gonna be tuned in tonight to USA Canada because what I saw the other night was absolutely electric.
Yeah.
And that's why my love for hockey has grown and grown and grown because they're not changing their game. It's the same thing it's been. They know that they don't want to change anything. Like, hey, shout out college football. Listen to this. Don't fix what ain't broke. You know, it ain't broke. It ain't broke. Stop messing with it.
Yeah.
And they just leave hockey alone. And I don't care what Molly Karam's clown ass says over there at ESPN or any of these other people. Like, it's electric and it brings people in. So on a bigger scale, I hate what basketball has become.
Mm-hmm.
As far as we remember Jakai earlier in the year blowing a kiss to the bench that was saying stuff to him, right? Like, I can't stand it. What CBM did last night that got him the technical foul, when I did that kind of thing in community league, man.
Yeah.
Like that was just part of the game.
It's soft.
I remember like my coaches growing up, my dad telling me, hey, talking's part of it. So stay. It was a whole there was a whole mental side of basketball tied into it.
Mm-hmm.
Stay in your game. Don't get shook by the trash talk, but don't let them punk you. It's just not that anymore. It's as soft as it's ever been, and I hate it. In my world, what CBM did last night is not a technical, and if any Arkansas guy did it to Auburn, it's not a technical. We're playing ball, okay? Let's go. In my world, a scuffle. I mean, a little push it and shove. We'll separate them and let's go, boys. Come on, let's go.
Yeah.
I'm not stopping and reviewing. In my world, a flagrant doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
So I hate it. Now, with all that being said, we know what it is. We know what it is. And for people out there that I see this a lot, and I'm glad you brought up Daryl because people were going after Daryl last night. Daryl said the truth. I 100% agree with what Daryl said last night.
For sure.
He wasn't going at CBM, nothing like that. And so many Auburn fans got upset. He was telling them, listen, man, you got to guys, what happened in that Yale game wasn't cool. I don't care that the other guy elbowed him first or whatever. We lost a close game. We wouldn't have lost if one of our best players would have kept his composure and not got kicked out the game in the NCAA tournament. In my opinion, just as a fan, not as a human, okay? So I know someone's going to get in the comments and say, he don't know you anything. As a fan, CBM owes Auburn fans for that. You got tossed out of the first round of a tournament game that we would have won with you in. You owe us, man. And you can't make that back. You can't repay that debt back until the tournament comes. And I'm with you, dude. I love him. You would never ask Ron Artest to not be Ron Artest. Like, you need those guys. Okay, everybody can't be Chris Moore. Like, you need some guys that walk the line and they're entertaining. I love it. I love CBM. The point I'm trying to make here is, how come it's only him? How come it's only always him? They don't pick on Denver Jones. They don't pick on Tahad Pettiford. They're not picking on Chris Moore or Janai. It's always Chad Baker-Mazar. Brother, let the Bama guy push you out of bounds and take the foul.
Mm-hmm.
But you want to act like you're falling down and accidentally slap him in the face. Come on, man. Come on, dude. Like, come on, man. Let him push you down and take the foul. I don't care. I see that. Look, I hear you, brother. I hear you, but I don't care. Because they're going to get you. You know by now. They're going to get
under a microscope.
And he even said it. CBM said it on Twitter today. He's like, I feel like they're coming after me. Well, chill with some of it, big dog. Just chill. Just chill with some of it. And none of it's bad. None of it's like malicious. He's not out here getting into fist fights with people and all. It's little. It's not even to the level of the Grayson Allen kid from Duke a couple years where
Yeah.
he was tripping and kicking folks. He's not even dirty like that. It's goofy stuff. It's just goofy stuff. And I wouldn't care so much about it if it didn't already cost us when it mattered the most. But it already cost us last year when it mattered the most. And I'm seeing a pattern of it. In that particular situation last night, Auburn goes up, hits a big three. He gets that tech. They hit both free throws. So now that big three got cut down to one. It got cut down to a you cut a +3 to a +1. Was something that was completely unavoidable, man. And it's got to stop, dude.
It was right before half too, right?
Yeah, right or no, was it? Or I thought it was like it was. It may have been. I thought it was like it was at the end of the game, but it was definitely a moment where we were. Remember. It was tight. It was either the end of the first half or the end of the second. Time was winding down on the clock, one of the ways. But yeah, they were making a run. Y'all can help us out in the chat. But it was tight. We come down, hit a big three, and then he hit the big three, and then he immediately eliminates his own positive play, and it's just like, come on, dude. And Arkansas wasn't good enough to make us pay for that. But like you said, St. John's in the Elite Eight, that could be the difference, man. Yeah. That could be the difference between a national championship.
And that's my thing too. Yeah, right before half. Look, we know as Auburn fans, Auburn, they have trouble sometimes closing halves, right? And you want to take all of that energy into the locker room. You don't want to go in deflated. You don't want to go into the locker room with a T. You just hit a big three, and then they hit 2 free throws, and you're like, well, damn. We just hit a big shot, and it got cut down because we're out here. Okay, so I'm going to tell y'all something about talking trash, all right? And maybe this could help. I don't know. But there's a guy named Kobe Bryant, all right? Unanimous Hall of Famer, right? Wish he was still with us today, right? There's a story out there that I watch. I see it all the time on TikTok. And it's Iman Shumpert when he played with the Knicks. And he said that they were in the Garden. And he was like, man, I was getting to guard Kobe in the Garden. And he was like, I was just so hyped. And he was like, I was telling my brother before the game, like, dog, I'm getting to guard Kobe Bryant in the Garden. And he was like, bro, I shut Kobe down for the first 3 quarters. He was like, shut him down, bro. He was like, I was just locking him up. Iman Shumpert was always known as an A-plus defender with his time in the NBA. And so he was like, man, he was like, and we break the huddle, we get off the bench and we go out for the fourth. And he was like, I was standing on the court and everything. And Kobe walked by me and he said, he tapped me on the lower back. And he said, so I turned and looked at him and he was like, great game, bro. And he's like, I looked at him and was like, huh? And he was like, great game. And he was like, bro, we still got 12 minutes to play. And he was like, yeah, I know. And he was like, great game.
Yeah.
And he said, and Kobe had like 24 in the fourth. And he was like, yo, what? He was like, this dude just absolutely cooked me in 12 minutes, bro. He was like, I went from D'ing him up. I was going to have stories to tell my kids, my grandkids, all this stuff. He was like, and then I got absolutely cooked in 12 minutes by this dude. He said, and all it took was just a little pat and him saying, hey, good game, bro. And he was like, and that got me. He was like, once he hit that first one, it was in my head. He was like, all I could hear was good game, bro. Good game, bro. Good game, bro. And he was like, and I just kept watching them just splash, splash. And he was like, I was cooked. I was legitimately cooked. And it wasn't throwing your jersey at Iman Shumpert and saying, Lake Show, baby, Lake Show, It wasn't none of that. It was just a little tap. Good game, bro. With 12 minutes left to play on the clock. That's it. Trash talking is an art. It's an art.
Hey, they say Larry Bird walked over to him in the middle of the timeout, said, I don't know what y'all are drawing up on that board, but I'm going to go right down here to this elbow. I'm gonna post you up. I'm gonna wait till that clock hits 2. I'm gonna turn around and hit it your eye. So get ready for it. That's exactly what he
I'll do
did.
it with either hand. I'll do it
Yeah,
with either hand. All right,
go
right
for
or
it.
left, whichever one you want. All right. It's just an art, dog. So I mean, I love CBM, man. I want him. I want him to be, bring all the energy and continue to be himself. I just don't want it to cost us again, and us being an Elite Eight, a Final Four moment, and us be on the big stage, and we get hit with something like that, and we lose because how would you leave San Antonio losing by one, and there was a tech, and CBM got tossed, and we lost by one? You'd be shattered. You would be shattered. So it's not downing CBM, it's loving CBM because we want him
Yeah,
to calm down. That's it. It's not hating, it's loving because we don't want to see him not out there again. So
yeah,
that's where I'm at with it, man.
and it's not I'll wrap it up with this. It's not we don't think anything he's doing is like super malicious, right? Like he's not out there doing he's not this really like, super dirty player hiding all this kind of he's not like it's
Yeah,
not even like a Draymond Green situation. It's nothing like that, and that's so it can be toned down. Like he's not doing anything too far over the line, but
yeah,
sometimes he steps just a little too far, or even in situations where he don't step over, it's like man that was avoidable. So just avoid some of the goofy stuff, because we have high expectations for this team, and again we have a reference point to look back on. And I hear you, Thomas, saying we shouldn't lose to Yale without CBM. Agree with you 100%, brother. All I'm saying is, as bad as that game went, you insert CBM, you still eke that one out, and then you can come back and regroup in round 2. So I agree. We still should have won that game even without him, but you don't lose, in my opinion, if he's not out there the whole game. So,
yeah. And the guy that CBM was guarding dropped 30.
went
So
off.
yeah,
Went off. Got a couple of these more comments. We're going to breeze through them real quick before we get out of here.
yeah,
Devin, you had a good point here saying, I'm interested to see how Georgia game goes. We didn't have Janai when we played them last time. Yeah, last night, man, didn't look quite 100%, but to me, he
yeah.
looked the best he's looked since the injury. He looked like he was kind of starting to find it and starting to be a little more aggressive there. Let's see. I got one more here. Make Auburn great again. Says CBM had just got a warning before the play before.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you just got to clean it up. Auburn Death says sloppy passes, lazy shots, not looking like number one team. I hope we play better against UGA or we might lose. And then back to Devin's point, I will say this. This is the prediction I'm going to make before we get out of here tonight. Auburn has played 2 of their worst games of the season, in my opinion, back to back in Neville. And like Devin said, we didn't have Janai last time we played Georgia. I believe a 3 p.m. 3 p.m. tip off, not an early start, but you don't have to wait all day. I like the time, 3 p.m. Right there in the middle of the day, the boys' juices should be flowing. Like I said, back-to-back performances in Neville, kind of, I don't see it happening 3 times in a row. I think it's going to be a blowout Saturday. I think this Auburn team is going to blow Georgia out. I'm predicting, I don't want to get too out of hand. I want to say at least a 16-point victory for Auburn over Georgia on Saturday. And I know we're getting to that point where teams like Arkansas and Georgia are fighting for their lives. They're on the bubble and all that kind of stuff. And Auburn's just trying to kind of stay engaged. You see the finish line. You see right there what you've been working towards all year. But man, I just think I don't see Auburn shooting bad again 3 times in a row. They didn't shoot really bad versus Florida, but I just think that this game, this Saturday in Neville, I think it's a bad matchup for Georgia. I think the close game versus Georgia last time, all that kind of stuff. Close first half. I think Auburn really pulls away in the second half. I don't see Auburn shooting that poorly from 3 points again. And I want to give a shout out to Miles Kelly. Me and you both said this last week, Blake. If you're going to miss shots, get engaged in other ways. And on nights when Miles Kelly is not making shots, he still had 8 rebounds from the guard position, and that's big time. So, yeah, I predict Auburn to beat the Bulldogs' ass Saturday. That's what I got.
I'm with you there. I think Georgia's trending down a little bit. I don't think they're the same team as they were at the beginning of the year or even when we played them a couple weeks back. Look, man, I said it a couple weeks ago. right before we got clocked by Florida. I think Auburn needed to get humbled a little bit. And it didn't go over well. I get it. It was an unpopular opinion. Auburn fans were telling me, you don't have to lose to face adversity, and you can face adversity in game. And yes, you can. But there was a point where you can't sit here and tell me that Auburn wasn't getting a little cocky. Auburn was starting to feel themselves a little bit. And I get it. You were on a 14-game heater, bro. You had only lost one game all year and probably shouldn't even have lost that one. And you're the number one team in the country. Like, I get it. I understand it. And you're probably going to get mad at me for saying this again, but I think Auburn needs to get clocked one more time before the tournament. I think we need to not necessarily have a bad game, but I think we need to drop another game. I do. I'm sorry if you disagree. I just think it hits the reset button, and you get to go back, clear it up. Now I'm not saying I want you to go out there and get blown out at A&M or at Rupp. Okay? I'm not saying anything like that. What I'm saying is if you go to A&M or you go to Rupp Arena and you lose by two or four or whatever, that's okay. It's okay. The world's not ending. You get clocked, bang. Everybody's going to start, Auburn lost number one spot. Auburn lost the number one spot. That's a good thing. It gets the fire going again. It says, hey, the guys on the team say, hey, baby, that's okay. Right. We held that thing for about 10 weeks now. So don't get it twisted now. All right. We lost and stayed in that hole. So I just think it would probably be a good thing, or maybe like getting to the SEC tournament. Okay. And lose early and get some rest, man. Because I do think that's one thing last year is we won the SEC tournament and we played that entire week. And then we got into the tournament and we just looked dead, man. Like, if you go back and watch that Yale game, we looked dead. Yeah, there you go. There you go, Auburn Dad. We looked dead in the Yale game. It looked sluggish and sloppy. So maybe in the SEC tournament, maybe not in the regular season. That is true. That's a great point by Thomas. I feel like we've been more focused on the road than we have been in Neville this year. I'll tell y'all this. What Auburn did in Coleman, you can let Alabama fans get on Twitter and say it was a close game and it was what'd that tweet say? It said watch scoreboard watchers. The Florida Auburn game was a 20-point game, but the final score was 9. Auburn and Alabama's game was a 4 to 5 point game, but the final score was by 9. All right. No, that is not true. All right. The Auburn Alabama game was only close for like 3 or 4 minutes, y'all. It got tight for one little stretch right there in the second half, and then Auburn started dominating again and went right back up by double digits. Let's don't get it twisted here, folks. Auburn beat their tail handily, and they did it on the road. And I remember a time in Auburn basketball where we used to get on here and we used to have to listen to Auburn don't win on the road. Auburn can't win on the road. Auburn can't beat App State on the road. Auburn went to Starkville and they got bullied.
Fire Bruce,
all right? Hey, man. We're all right. We're all right. So I'm proud of the team, man. We're still chugging along. Anything can happen in March. Just get right. Be healthy going into March. And we got a 2-game cushion in the SEC right now, man. I feel like the SEC regular season title would be a breath of fresh air. That, in my opinion, is something that means something. All right. Not the tourney title last year, and y'all crawled me for that. But it don't hold any value to me. that regular season tournament, that's 18, baby. That's 18 of them. And you got that one the hard way. All right.
Facts.
That was a grind. So go get that one. And then the Oats versus Pearl conversation can simmer down a little bit. All right. Knock them off that high horse that they think they're on. And let's go win a tournament, man. So I'm excited about the rest of it, Dustin.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll be back Sunday morning, hopefully, to review a Auburn beatdown of the Georgia Bulldogs, because I don't ever get tired of that. I would say whatever the sport is, but there's only one sport we're doing that in right now. Thomas says, great show, guys. Thank you for the hard work and content. We appreciate you, brother. Thank you for being in here. Yeah. You guys hit that like button, sub if you haven't. What you got, brother?
One last thing, dropping a member pod tonight. Dustin did one, and then a baseball pod that I've got lined up. We're gonna watch some film from some ABs that I kind of captured over the midweek games, and I'll talk a little bit about that. And I would try to drop that one this weekend. I know I got Mardi Gras going on, about to head down there right now, so I'll pump it out, man. I'll make sure to get that out.
Yeah. Shout out to the baseball team. Two big time midweek wins. That one over Troy was massive. The Trojans were actually ranked, and so we need that for sure. All right, guys. Yeah. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. It's War Damn Eagle. We'll see y'all later on in the weekend.
War Damn, baby.